Hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to Science, the Living World. Talking all about the human body, okay? We talked a lot about the heart. We talked about the lungs. My lungs are helping me breathe in that fresh air or the fresh gas, or what do we call the gas? The fresh oxygen, okay? And that's gonna be in my body, okay? That oxygen's going into my lungs. Now my lungs are gonna work together with the heart. The heart's gonna pump blood all around, and it's gonna take some of that oxygen from the lungs and spread it all out, right? It's gonna help you out. So lungs and heart are two very important organs for your living existence. Okay. Today we're going to talk about how important it is to strengthen your heart. Now I know Miss Gazzano and Jim always says, okay, feel your heart, exercise your heart, and you can feel the heart beating. Well, there's a special word for that. They call it a pulse. Okay, a pulse is just another phrase for a beating heart. Now you may not realize it, but there's parts of your body. One of the parts of your body is called an artery. Right? Now I want to talk about the artery because before we get into the activity, I wanted to just speak a little bit about the artery and what it does. Okay, the artery and the veins. So the four major terms we're talking about this week: heart, lungs, artery, veins. All right, let's say it. Heart, lungs, artery, vein. Which one of those words starts with the letter A? This is the hardest part. Artery, yes. Now, away and artery start with the same letter, A. So you can remember the arteries carry the blood away from the heart. I don't know if you can see it, but that's a vein right there. And the veins travel back to the heart. They return. I can't tell you how I memorized this, because when I was in school, I remember the word for return in Spanish, which is volver, to return, and that starts with the letter V, and V is for vein. And that's just a quick, easy way for me to remember that the veins return to the heart, the blood, and the arteries that start with A carry the blood away from the heart. And that's a really important concept that we're going to be learning about. Now, I wanted to say one thing. We're going to get a little bit deeper into the human body and how it all works together. We talked about the lungs and the heart, but now I want to move on to the arteries. Blood is pumped away from your heart in tubes called arteries. There you have it. Blood carried away with the arteries. Okay, arteries are tubes that come out of your heart. Okay. Then, after it goes through all over your body, the arteries, say arteries one more time. Don't be afraid of that word, arteries. You may not use it every day, but you might have heard it before. And now you're going to know what it is. Arteries is blood that's pumped away from your heart in tubes. Now it travels back to your heart and returns to your heart in tubes called veins. All right? And your heart and lungs work together to keep you healthy. And there you have it. That's really a lot of the material we talked about. We are going to be doing some different types of experiments this week. We're going to take a look at some exercising experiments. We're going to be measuring our pulse. Okay, sounds pretty good. And we're going to teach you how to do that. That's kind of fun. So, let's move on. Okay. So arteries and veins. I don't want you to be afraid of those words because they are very important. Now arteries, such as the ones on like your wrist and your neck, because these arteries are all over your body. The arteries, they carry blood through the body, all around the body. And each time that your heart beats, the blood vessels, the tubes, get a little bigger. Okay? And when they get bigger, in between the beats, they contract. So they're getting, when your heart's pumping the blood out, it gets a little bigger, the tube, and then it gets a little smaller. A little bigger, a little smaller. Why is that important? Well, each pulse, each time it gets big and small, represents one heartbeat. Now, there's animals in the world that have very different hearts. An elephant, his heart beats very, very slow. He's a very big animal. But a hummingbird that can make its wings move so fast and just hang out in the air and just like drink the nectar from a pretty flower because it likes that. It can beat like over 100 times a minute. I mean, it's a really, really fast beating heart, like because it's a tiny, tiny living thing. But like I said, an elephant's a big living thing, and it needs a lot of energy to pump that heart, but it pumps kind of in a slower fashion. Tiny, tiny animals pump very, very fast. Squirrel, chipmunk, very fast heartbeat. Okay, so, and we're gonna be checking and doing an experiment with exercise using this heartbeat. So make sure you check out the video of the girl teaching you how to measure your pulse. And like I said, if you have someone in your family and you just want to borrow their watch, that's another excellent way to get an exact heartbeat measurement, or an exact when you're measuring your pulse. Okay, remember, pulse is just a fancy word for heartbeat. Okay, so if people are checking your pulse, they want to see if your heart's beating quickly. But what happens to your heartbeat? And I'm not going to go too far into this today, but what happens to your heartbeat? So if I woke up from sleeping and I took my heartbeat, it would be very boom, boom, boom. But I think if I was in a running race and then I took my heartbeat, and I know Miss Gazzano has people running around in the gym in a circle, and she's like strut, gallop, frolic, skip, sidestep, then run. And after you run, if you feel your chest, you'll feel it beating harder. Let's take a step back. When I was first becoming a teacher, in I think 2nd grade, I had done an experiment. And what I did with all the students in the class, and I did this 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, with my 4th graders. And they put on a pair of headphones. And the first song that I played was classical music. You heard beautiful pianos and violins and very soft, relaxing, mindful music. And then I put on a rock and roll song, or like a very fast moving, whoop, there it is, whoop, there it is, or something like that. And it just goes very, very quick. But not even by moving their bodies, just by listening to faster music, their heart paid attention to that. Now remember, your heart beats involuntarily. You don't tell your heart to beat, just like you don't tell your eyes to blink. It automatically does it. Your brain does that for you. And it's really an important idea that your heart beats all on its own. It's such an amazing thing. And then remember, those arteries that start with the A, they carry the blood away from the heart. And the veins, and a lot of times you can see your veins here, travel back to the heart. So it's coming out, it's going back, it's coming out and going back. I mean, it's amazing how many times this happens per day. You would never believe me if I told you. But your heart works very hard for you every day. So take good care of it, will you? All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. And I think tomorrow's Thursday. So have a great night.